All right, now it's time for our favorite part of the show, winners and losers. And Dan, I'm going to turn to you first. Who's your winner?
I already showed my hand once. My winner is the group's profiting off of Sheriff Clark. They're obviously raising a lot of money, and people realize they can raise money off this. The only thing is we're still waiting for Sheriff Clark to say anything about this. He's yet to say a word about whether he's okay with this, not okay with it, whatever.
So surely he must be flattered, if nothing else.
Well, I'm sure it does flatter his ego, but still, you also don't want to be associated with groups that support Black Lives Matter or scam packs.
If you're David Clark. All right, who's your loser?
My loser's Andrew Puzder, the Labor nominee who was forced to withdraw, the first of the Trump nominees to withdraw. You know, he had, first of all, the Oprah tape was not a good thing for him, but he also had people on the left who disliked his position on the minimum wage, people on the right who didn't like his position on immigration in the past, or some social conservatives who didn't like the ads for Carl Jr.'s and for Hardee's and stuff. So he was pushed from both sides. The selection by Trump now, Alexander Acosta, I'm assuming has had more vetting than Mr. Puzder did.
But you know, to be fair to Trump, all presidents have problems occasionally getting their cabinet secretaries confirmed.
And it's become much more polarized. I was just looking at, in the past, you know, with Bill Clinton, his nominee with the fewest votes got 85 votes. I mean, today,
it's hard to imagine anyone getting 85 votes.
I mean, there might be some, but you have two things going on here. One, the margin for error is very slim with only 52 Republicans in the Senate. Plus, Trump is putting forward some people who are controversial. And so that combination means that it's more likely that you're going to have more fights on these issues. And with Obama, I mentioned some other, Obama, the candidate he had with the fewest votes was Tom Perez with 54. But having said that, it is true, as we were discussing, that the Attorney General for Bill Clinton did have to withdraw. So yes, all of them do have issues on that, but it does seem to be a little less vetting than you would expect on some of these candidates.
All right, Mary, who's your loser?
I think Michael Flynn would have to be the loser for me. You know, he didn't even make it, 2 months?
24 days, I think.
Yeah.
Not even 1 month.
Not even 1 month. So it was a pretty short tenure for him. He obviously was saying, you know, he didn't discuss the sanctions with Russian officials. Then turned out that he was wiretapped, or surveillance showed that he did. Apparently lied to the vice president. There was obviously discrepancy among the Trump folks, whether he resigned, was forced to resign, asked to resign, fired. Either way, he's out of a job, so loser.
There's there have been some reports that Mike Pence basically behind the scenes said, this guy's got to go. I know, we can't stand for this.
If he lied to the vice president's face about what he discussed, and then there's apparently transcripts or tapes or whatever of him discussing it, that's going to be a problem.
Yep.
So.
All right, so who's your winner?
I think winner, Sally Yates, going back to that issue. This was the acting attorney general who was fired by Trump for refusing to enforce or refusing to defend his executive order. Turns out that she had actually been the one warning from the beginning, or warning, you know, a month or so ago, that Flynn had been in touch with the Russians discussing sanctions, that he was being less than forthcoming or misleading with his statements. And then the Trump administration went ahead and repeated those statements to the public. So I think this kind of comes back as probably a good day for her.
Well, there's still this question with Trump apparently knowing that Flynn had not been truthful.
He knew for a while.
Telling, a couple of weeks at least, and not telling Pence apparently. So there's a lot of questions about
And then he's blaming the leaks and saying this is because of illegal leaks, and it's, you know.
Big Twitter storm yesterday about that.
Right, and so I think the question is, if Flynn hadn't gotten caught lying, would he still have his job? If, you know, gotten caught publicly, if Trump knew and nobody else did, would he have?
And shifting the focus to leaks does seem to have worked with many of Trump's supporters. I've just been listening to some conservative talk radio, and that does seem to be the focus of the discussion on conservative talk radio. Why is the intelligence department leaking, and why is the press writing this stuff? You know, for us, it's not an issue as to whether they should or shouldn't leak. If it's a good story, we run with it. But it does seem
well,
to
and
be
it's also funny because it seems to confirm that it's accurate. If you're saying this information was leaked by the intelligence community, it's like, oh, so it's pretty right on then. You know, it's not exactly fake news.